Good morning. How are you today? Merry Christmas to those who are celebrating Christmas, and to others, I hope you're having a wonderful weekend because things should be at simmering rather than very active. Um, for those who are traveling, it appears that there's a fair amount of violence that doesn't normally happen. The FAA has complained there have been as many as 1,000 incidents of violence, and the virus is at the heart of it, provoking anger. And apparently, and I don't know all the details, but some passenger hit a flight attendant and broke bones in her face. Obviously, this fella is on a hopefully fast trip to a misdemeanor or felony, depending upon how she suffered. Most states, if you assault in the sense of a battery, you actually have an offending contact with someone that they haven't consented to. Then it's the measure of how you hurt them. And breaking bones in the face, that's a pretty hard hit. And so I think whoever did that is probably in a lineup for a felony. But the fact that almost childlike, and it's usually men, right? It's almost childlike that someone would be upset with a virus they can't control, and then when asked if they are vaccinated or whatever was the cause here, but that's been the most frequent cause, or why won't they wear a mask, things like that, that would provoke them to hit the person telling them what they should do, not just for themselves, but for everybody else. And even deciding I'm going to take the risk myself means you're going to put other people at risk, for the bed nearby or for catching the infection from you. It's just amazing to me. But this says something about America, that we have these unruly people wandering around. And it all goes back to this attitude. The pandemic is a special problem, but not enforcing the law, letting people get away with this, stores doing it, people winking the other way. And the most surprising number of people in terms of what I perceive as their intelligence who won't get a vaccine or don't think it matters and haven't gotten a booster shot and don't see the logic of the science that having a booster, even for the most terrible, it appears, variant that we have, which will punch right through the immunity that you hope for, but still not make it the most severe attack. Well, we're seeing violence also in school districts. We're seeing some reactions in courts where we have to be remote. We're seeing it among people who are uninsured. So this is a tough time, this environment. And I've spent some time cracking a hardcover book for one of my Christmas presents, and it's Frost's poems. And I specifically asked for it, by the way, so it wasn't a complete surprise. And Frost has a way of reminding us of the mendicant that nature can be, but of just sort of taking time, and if you can't go outside, then you should find a way to meditate inside. There was a guy that I work with, a great investigator, who was the model for Telly Savalas' show Kojak. And he told me what he'd do is sometimes when he was feeling the pressure from the investigations, and there are people who threatened his life, and he was undercover in a number of cases, he said he'd sit on the ground. He had never done yoga or anything. He would imagine in his mind a drop of water forming in the faucet, and he would watch it in his mind form, and then he would watch it fall, and then when it splashed down, he'd go back up to do another one. He'd do this for 5 or 10 minutes, and he said it was like getting a big rest, that it just cleared his mind. And those who do meditate, and I've done it over the years, and I've done a fair amount of yoga, the notion is to think of your mind as kind of a reflecting pool. And when it's troubled, it's all shattered and broken up. But when it's calm, it's smooth. And to do that requires us to take vacations from the most terrible things that are happening, like these unruly characters on planes and in 7-Elevens and places like that. We have among us the seeds of ongoing, continuing discontent. And our way through it is that we have to be the adults. And the women who are, hopefully, will pull some of these monsters back from the fact that, like children, they keep asking, are we there yet? When they are the ones that are extending the ride. They're the ones that make it go longer. So I hope that you had a wonderful day and weekend and found some way to be with family remotely, directly. And I know lots of people who've been taking precautions, having their own family members tested and so forth, particularly because of the older members of the family. But we still don't know what the Omicron variant means to young or old. So be careful, enjoy. And for my podcast this week, I may take a couple of selections from Frost that I think will help us meditate upon our situation. And he does talk about his trees. So I had forgotten that. And there are some poems in this book, and I've been following him since I was a young man, that I'd never read before. So that's kind of that's a genuine gift. So here I am in my cathedral of trees, and I hope you're having a wonderful time, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.